We are live already. Good afternoon. How are you doing? So let me start by sharing a quick story. I think yesterday or so, I saw this video on Facebook where a guy was talking about his growing up days, how he used to steal a lot. Funny enough, he only stole from his family. He never really stole outside. So he talks about how the parents used to beat him. They would beat him mercilessly. The idea was to stop him from stealing. That didn't stop him from stealing. So they moved from beating him to one time the brother said, okay, let's be giving him the money to keep so that he will not steal. At least if the money is with him, he will not steal again. That still didn't work. Excuse me. That still didn't work. Then another time, the father devised another means to make him stop stealing. So each time the father went out and he got back and there was news about somebody stealing and all of that, the father would come and tell him about it, how somebody stole, how the person was killed. Everything was in a bid to stop him from stealing. That still did not work. Unfortunately, the boy did not finish the story because it was a reposted video and the person did not tag the story, the original author of the story. So I had no way of finding out what actually happened to the boy, how he stopped stealing, if he ever how he stopped stealing. He's an adult now, so I want to assume that he actually stopped stealing. Why am I sharing this story? Because what happens very many times when children misbehave is we want to correct. We call it discipline. We want to, what the father did, okay, the father was creative. They were exploring every means to the extent of, okay, let's give him the money to hold. If he keeps the money, he may not go and steal it again. That didn't work. Beat him. That didn't work. Okay, let's start telling him about the consequences of stealing. If you steal, you become an armed robber, you are going to be arrested. This is going to happen. That is going to happen. That still did not work. Now, here's what happened in that story. When it comes to correction, when it comes to discipline, one of the things I always say to parents is that you must know why the child is doing what the child is doing. Now, this is how you can actually discipline the child. Why was he stealing? He never talked about the parent trying to find out why he was stealing. I'm almost sure nobody even ever told him, ask him why he was stealing. What is the rationale behind you stealing? Because there's always a reason behind actions. And that is where discipline comes in. There is a reason, maybe a lack of skill, maybe there is always a reason behind action. So when you understand that reason, it's how you can learn to train your child. Like we said, discipline is training. Even when you want to correct your child, you will need to understand, okay, what is the behavior behind that reason? You see what the parent did, even when they came to start telling him the consequences of stealing. Become an armed robber, they will just shoot you and your life will be a waste. Become an armed robber. See, robbers today were caught, they were mobbed. That did not stop the boy from stealing, because the consequence did not answer the question of, did not meet the needs that the boy was stealing. There was a need, there was a reason the boy was stealing. So the consequence did not answer that question, did not meet the need, it did not replace that need. Now, if there is a need and that need is replaced, then they have alternative. So the consequence did not provide alternative for the boy. So the boy kept stealing until probably he outgrew it or something happened. Excuse me. He outgrew it or something happened. So today we are learning about discipline. We've always, for the entire month in the Visionary Parents Academy, we have been learning about discipline as training. Discipline is training. And I gave this example that one of the coaches gave in the academy. He said, if somebody asks you, if you're in university and somebody asks you, what is your discipline? They are telling you, what course are you being trained in? Where are you receiving your training? Is it in medicine? Is it in geography? Is it in finance and banking? Is it in engineering? Where are you receiving your training? And she said, this simply tells us that discipline is actually training our children. So when they no wonder when they grow up, we are seeing them as disciplined. Simply means that they have been trained. Because if you leave human beings, if you leave children, we are random now, we are spontaneous, and children, they cannot pause to think. They will just do things randomly. So we are training them not to be random, but to be intentional, to be aware, and to make choices that they too will be proud of. So that is what we are learning today. We've learned about discipline as training. Today is about discipline as correction. Because what we do very many times as parents, we don't train, rather we wait for our children to misbehave, for them to make mistakes, for something to happen, and then we now start disciplining them. And like I always say, if we leave discipline to when children misbehave, at the end of the day, because we are human beings, your emotions may get in the way. It is why we employ negative form of discipline to discipline our children that are not even productive. They are counterproductive. We realize it, but sometimes we are not just ready to answer the real question, so we keep using that. So today we are looking at discipline. Is not punishment, because punishment will end up breaking your child. We want to raise disciplined children, but we don't want to break our children. Now here's something I always say to the visionary parents. If you are with us for the first time, my name is Enimien Oruebor, and this is the Visionary Parent with Enimien Oruebor. Now, the Visionary Parent Academy is an academy where parents get to be empowered with parenting confidence, with the skills, with the knowledge, with strategies and tools they need to raise the children that they have. We are parents. One of the major assignments, the most important assignment we are given is to raise our children. The other day I was telling my children how they are nations, and I was breaking it down. I was telling them that you are going to get married, you are going to have children. Your children, so I drew that family tree for them. And they saw that in a few generations, they are going to be a lot. And one of them was telling me, it simply means in a few generations that I am going to have as many children as my lineage is going to be so big that I can become a big community like our community. I said, yes, it is why you are a nation. And guess what? We can actually have patterns in our parenting that without even paying attention, if we are not training our children, we will just pass it to the next generation and pass it on. At the end of the day, we realize that, okay, this is how we are in this home. We have people, we call it generational curse, generational problems. Very many times, they are actually patterns we are passing to the next generation without paying attention, without realizing it. I was telling the Visionary Parent Academy this morning, I was using alcohol as an example. I said, for example, if you have a person who drinks, maybe you have a parent who drinks, and then you drink, your child is watching you. Before you know what is happening, your child too, when they are old enough, they'll begin to drink. And the other generation after your child, your grandchildren, they'll begin to drink. And if maybe alcohol has effect on you, you see it. Except one person now wakes up and says, no, I am going to break this pattern. If nobody wakes up to break the pattern, it continues, and it is how we have generational issues. So when we talk about discipline, we want to look beyond today. This is something I always say. We want to look beyond today. It is always in the long term for us. What happens in the long term, in the long run? How will this impact my child? What is my child going? Because at the end of the day, you agree with me that a time will come, your child will not be under you. So you will not be able to discipline your child directly. It is how the humans are wired. You will not be able to to discipline your child directly. Your child will be on their own. So what is going to happen? When you are not able to yell at your child, when you are not able to smack your child, when you are not able to hold back privileges, when you are not able to send them to naughty corners and all of that, what is going to happen to your child? Now, it is why children, some of them, they go to school, they misbehave. You see a child at home and, oh, this child is all put together. When you hear reports of that child, you are wondering, how is this my child? How is this well-behaved child that I know at home? It is actually because learning has not taken place. Training has not taken place. Discipline is training, but training has not taken place. Because training has not taken place, when a child goes outside, they are going to do anything. So anything that is random, anything that appeals to them. Now, this is why in the Visionary Parent Academy, we are focused on parenting for the long-term results. not just the result of today, but the long term. We know that we don't have a long time to raise our children. We know that at least 17, 18, the children are leaving the house. They are going to the university. I always say that for me, for example, when I got into the university, and that was about it. As soon as I got into the university, that was about it. I never really went back home to my parents' house. No. I never really went back home to my parents' house. I got into the university. So what happened was, from university, I went for youth service. From youth service, and that was it. From youth service, I started my life. I got married, and I'm living my life. I have never had to go to my parents. And this is exactly what happens to your children too. Sorry, I'm trying to. This is exactly what happens to your children too. So at some point in their lives, they are going to leave you. So parenting is not just for today. When we talk about discipline, it's not just for today. You want to correct that behavior and be done with. You want to fix something quickly and be done with. No, we are talking about long term. What impact, what effect, long term. Let me share a quick example. For example, a child is stealing, and you say, oh, this child is stealing. You want to beat that stealing away from the child. Now, one of the first things you want to do, you want to understand, why is this child stealing? Why do you need to understand? When you understand why the child is stealing, then you are able to reach the child. If the child is stealing because the child is hungry, then it is easy for you to say, okay, you are hungry, it is why you are stealing. Let's now look for how to deal with hunger without you stealing. You are stealing because you are being influenced by peers. Let's now look at how to make friends without having to succumb to the pressure of stealing. So discipline, because if the child doesn't learn how to deal with hunger without stealing, it simply means that as they grow older, when they become independent and enter the real society, they are still going to steal. Not maybe when they are hungry, maybe they will be too comfortable to bother about. They will not be hungry because they will always have money to buy food. But it simply tells them that when they have a need that they cannot immediately meet, they will have to steal. If stealing is an option, they will have to steal. So it means that when they see a fancy car they like to buy, they will have to steal if money is available to be stolen. It simply means that when they have something they need to do, when they have a hunger for something, they are going to steal to be able to meet that need. Okay, so let me start. I actually have some things I put down here. We are talking about discipline today as correction. Discipline is not punishment, and we're thinking about how to correct our children without necessarily breaking them. One of the things I've always said several times is that behavior, when children behave, when we discipline them, is one of the ways we communicate to our children. Is one way we shape them. Through our discipline, we are shaping our children. Discipline can make them. It can break them. It can break them physically. It can break them emotionally. It can break them. Discipline can cause them a certain level of low self-esteem that they may never ever heal from. Discipline can, the funny thing, if you don't sit down with yourself to try to understand where this thing is coming from, you may never realize that, oh, it was how I was disciplined when I was young that I was damaged. You may never realize that. I have a friend who is a perfectionist. And the funny thing, she doesn't even realize she's a perfectionist. She just thinks, I have high standard. I like things done in certain ways. But that is not the case. The truth is, she is a perfectionist. Very many times she misses opportunities. Very many times she doesn't have the confidence to start. Very many times she procrastinates. Why does she do that? Because she's waiting for, I want this to happen, I want that to happen. Something she can easily do, she doesn't do it because she's waiting for the perfect time. And guess what? We all know that perfection is an illusion. So because of that, she doesn't like where she is. She's complaining, she's grumbling, she wants better results, but she's not making the move because perfectionism has so much robbed her of her the ability to stand up and try. Guess what? This happened when she was small. It happens a great deal. Our mindsets, the way we behave, we react generally. They didn't just happen today. They happened from when we were small. Seeds that were planted in us, how we were corrected, what was nurtured in us, they all come together to now form who we are today. And it may not be in one thing, it may be in series of things. So today is about how to discipline your child without breaking your child. You want to correct your child. Yes, as much as we are saying that discipline is training, you have to train your child. That is discipline. We also know that there are times that children misbehave on the spot, and you want to correct it on the spot. So today we are talking about discipline as correction and not necessarily breaking your child, because like I said, discipline can either break your child or make your child. And this is again the visionary Parents with Enimien Oruebor, brought to you by the Visionary Parents Academy, an academy where parents get empowered with confidence, with skills, with tools to raise the children they have. I always say that we want to raise the children that the world will pray for us for. You know, they'll say, who is your mother? God bless your mother. Who is your father? God bless your father. That's the kind of children I want to raise. Not the one you see on social media. Somebody will say, what's 100 naira condom would have prevented. I don't want to raise such children. Or someone will say, no, we don't want to raise such children. So in the Visionary Parent Academy, we are intentional about raising the children the world will pray for us. So what you want to do is to find out how you can join us. We run every single year. I tell you, it's an academy that will transform your parenting. You parent with confidence, you parent with knowledge, you parent with skills. You have members of the community who are not afraid to share their own struggles, their own testimonies, and you will learn from them and you will grow in your parenting. So send a message on how to join us. And one of the things we are doing this weekend again is, like I was talking about our mindsets. Very many times I talked about being perfectionist, having a friend who is a perfectionist. And I also know, I was telling someone about a month ago that I was sabotaged greatly. You know, fear of what will people say. Is that that should be the people-pleasing tendency. What will people say? Imposter syndrome. When you can actually do something. You have the skills, the ability to do it, but you see, self-confidence will make you not do it. Self-confidence will make you shrink when you are supposed to be shining. I was telling the woman that I had that for a very long time. I gave her the story of how I started my intentional parenting journey. I had it for a very long time, but I did not have the courage to start. These things did not just happen overnight. It didn't just wake up that, it was the day I had this idea to start this thing that I shrunk. No, seeds planted in me, built me. And she was asking me something. She was saying that, I told her that because one of the things that held me back was me saying that, what will people say? People will say I'm doing as if I know too much. People will say I'm doing as if my children are perfect. People will say that what if they now ask me questions I cannot answer? And she asked me a question that, okay, when you were growing, were you always told over sabi, shut up and things like that? I said, not necessarily, but when I was growing up, I was always being compared. One of the discipline tools my dad used then was comparing us. Anybody that as much as impressed him, whether they were better than us or they were up to us, was not even a question. It was, go and see this person, they are doing well. Even when we were going to school, someone was learning how to make dresses. Go and see this person, she's learning how to make dresses. Even comparison, and you know what that does? If you're a parent listening to me, you still compare your children, whether mildly, subtly, or any way, please straight away. Comparison can be very dangerous. Like, if each time I talk about this, I talk about what it did to me. Firstly, it's supposed to serve as motivation. Parents do it so that they can motivate their children. So my dad was doing it to motivate us. See your mates, they are better than you. So you actually want to at least measure up. That was the idea behind it. But guess what? It was not serving the purpose. Initially, it served motivation. I like them, I admire them, I wanted to do what they were doing. I remember at some point I wanted to wear earrings the party. One of the daughters the earrings she was wearing. I was asking her, where did you get your earrings from? I wanted to just be like her, like walk like her, do everything like her, because we were constantly being compared. But guess what? When that didn't work, it became like envy. I was envious of these girls, like envious. After envy, it graduated to hatred. Oh my God, I hated them with passion, like passion. You know, that is it. And guess what? Those kind of mindsets, they just don't go. They will still follow you into adulthood. So when you see people doing better than you, I was telling someone that if you don't unlearn, if you don't heal, when you are supposed to be inspired by people, you will not be envious of them. You will be feeling not good enough. You will not start feeling limited. When people doing better than you are supposed to be your source of inspiration, you will be feeling limited because you have refused to heal. Now, this is why in the Visionary Parent Academy this weekend, this is why in the Visionary Parent Academy this weekend, we are having a 2-day masterclass where we are going to look at reparenting yourself. All those childhood baggages, traumas, programming, seeds that were planted in you, whether intentionally or intentionally, we are going to begin to look at them so that we all can move from where we are to where we want to be in life. So that is it. So you plan to join us this Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. daily on our reparenting yourself journey. So let's go into today. We have not even gone into today. Okay, so like I was saying, today we are moving from discipline as punishment to how to correct our children without necessarily breaking them. And I have said something already. I said we are always, the way we respond is actually not because of maybe not even what our children have done, but a lot of factors, our mindset, where we are coming from, because the way we perceive things is actually the way we respond to them. It is why if you come to this part of the world, somebody gives you something with their left hand, you are going to look at the person and say, something is wrong somewhere. Why are you giving me with your left hand? But if you are coming from a different part of the world where left hand is not a big deal, you are not going to see it as a big deal. So very many times, correcting our children is not even because of what they have done, it's how we perceive that behavior. If there's a family and as a parent, your child takes something that does not belong to him, you see it as smart guy, smart child, the person catch you, no, smart child, you are not going to respond harshly. But if the child takes it and you are a person that is big on integrity, you are teaching your child how not to take what does not belong to them, guess what you are going to do? It is going to be a big deal. It is how we see our children's behavior. Now let's go. I want to start by telling you about the pillars of discipline. 3 pillars of discipline. When you want to discipline your child, have this at the back of your mind. If these 3 things are absent in your discipline, then you are not disciplining your child. First of all, your child has done something. The first thing you want to do is what went wrong. You want to understand what actually went wrong. You must understand what went wrong. That understanding will help you correct your child. Like I was saying, if a child steals, and as a parent, you learn that your child has stolen, you understand, why did this child steal? If the child stole because, oh, I was hungry, then it's easy for you to now say, okay, you stole because you were hungry. Now, whenever you are hungry, stealing is not the option, because stealing can even make things worse. If you steal and you grow up with this stealing habit, you are going to land yourself in jail. If you land yourself in jail, you see this hunger that made you steal, it is going to wire, it's going to deal with you, it's going to wire you endlessly. Because in jail, they may not even give you food. They may give you food once a day. They may give you food twice a day. So you see this hunger, it is going to be worse. So when you are hungry, what do? Do you steal? No. Then you are now going to ask yourself, what are your family values? You ask yourself what went wrong. You are going to ask yourself, why is it wrong? Why is it wrong? It is wrong because when you steal, people no longer trust you. When you steal, you lack integrity. When you steal, it can quickly become a habit. When you steal, it teaches you shortcuts. It removes the processes. You don't want that for your child. You want a child who believes in processes. You want a child who works hard. Then the next thing you are going to do is you are going to provide alternative, because very many times children misbehave because they do not know better. They don't have an alternative. That is it. So what you want to do, what went wrong, why is it wrong, and what is the alternative to it? These are the three things you must bear in mind each time you want to correct your child. If your child is hitting another child, what went wrong? Why is it an issue? What are the alternatives? Now, when we are talking about disciplining toddlers, one of the things I always recommend for parents is that redirect them. Redirection simply means that change their attention, redirect their attention. Maybe your child is playing with a remote control, for example. They are hitting it. Your child is playing with the remote control. You come there, you are angry, you snatch it and you smash the child. Stop playing with the remote control. You have not taught the child. Discipline is training, it is teaching. You have not taught the child anything. Now the child will be confused. Why shouldn't I play with remote control? Is playing bad? Is playing with remote control bad? Is playing in the living room bad? Or is mommy just attacking me because I'm a child and she's an adult? The child is confused. And at the end of the day, the child wouldn't have learned anything. But what if you do it this way? Your child is playing with remote control. You go there, you take the remote control from the child. You tell the child that you don't play with remote control, you don't smack it because you are going to spoil it. If it spoils, the TV will not work again. You give the child an alternative, maybe a toy, maybe something else to play with. What are you doing? You are teaching the child that playing is not bad. Playing in the living room is not bad, and if it's acceptable in your place, it's not bad. However, playing with the remote control is the issue. So what you want to do is don't play with the remote control, play in the living room, but play with your toys, play with your Legos, play with your craft work. It is what you have taught the child. So providing an alternative, we teach the child that, see, you see your experience is totally valid. You were hungry. Oh, hunger is valid. Everyone gets hungry. However, when you are hungry, you do not steal. And that brings me to a very important topic again. Everyone definitely needs to have family values. Your family values will guide what you do. And even when you are correcting your child, your family values will guide the way you correct your child. If you don't have your family values, you can send a message to us in the Visionary Parent Academy, and we are going to teach you how to create your family values and everything you need to do. Now, the Visionary Parent Academy is an academy that is very empowering and transformational. We have a lot of resources. We have resource bank where you can go in, day out. You are going to see a lot of the things we have there. Our videos are there, our worksheets are there, our books are there, a lot of things you can go. And then you come back to the community. We have a community where we meet every single day. We meet in the morning, we have messages in the morning, we have classes in the morning, and then we now come in the evening to meet, to kind of have a communal service, to have a fellowship together, where you get to ask your questions, you get to learn, you get to unlearn. So I want to encourage you. We are closed for this year. We are not registering again for this year. However, we have courses we do every month. So you can feel free to join us any month at all. Ask us, how do you join? How do you join for this month? And even if you just want to test run, let me even see what they do in the academy. Just pay for 1 month and see what we do. If you like it, then plan to join us next year. If you don't like it, you can say, it wasn't worth you. But I tell you that you are going to like it. Any month you join the academy, you are going to like it because it is really, really transformational. It is really empowering. So I was talking about correcting your child. You must have your values as a parent. Now you have a child who is stealing and you want to correct the child. What are you going to do? One of the first things you want to ask yourself is, what do I teach from this? What kind of a child am I raising? So that will not determine that. Of course, you know that your vision as a parent, where you are going to, is your vision. That determines the type of child you are raising. That determines your values rather, and that determines your everyday, your responses to them and all of that. So I know, what kind of child am I raising? Am I raising a child who is just a consumer? Am I raising a child who is a producer? Someone who produces, who thinks of contributing to the society? And what am I raising? So now, when your child steals like this and you want to correct, you now look at your vision and your values and you go back and tell your child, instead of you to be steal when you are hungry, you can ask around. You can beg someone for money. You can go to the next place and beg for food. That is if you are raising a consumer, someone who knows how to eat, take. You tell your child, you can ask. It is better you ask someone. It is better you beg than stealing. You teach them how to beg. You tell them, if you beg the first person, they say no. You beg the second person, they say no. Strategies on how to ask, not necessarily begging. Not begging. Begging is derogatory. Not begging. Asking. You can go and meet someone and confidently tell them, hey, I'm really very hungry and I don't have anything to eat. Can you please help me with something to eat? If the first person says no, you don't give up. You meet the second person. You meet the third person. Before you meet 10 people, one person will help you. You teach them. Now, if you are not raising a producer, someone who produces, you are not coming to tell your child that when you are hungry, instead of you to steal, go and ask, go and look for what you can do to make money. Go and look around you, people's needs. Is there anybody around you that has a car that needs to be washed? Offer to wash the car. Is there anybody that has a cleaning job to be done? Offer to do the cleaning. Is there anybody that has, maybe there is something you can do? Maybe you can code, maybe you can create flyers and all of that. Is there anybody that actually has something that you can do? Is there anybody you can add value to for money? Go and look for them and add value to them and get money back. Now, it is from teaching, it is from stealing that you have taught. So you have taught them. If you want to teach them to go and ask, you want to teach them how to ask, how to be persuasive, how to communicate clearly, how to be confident, how to actually know how to articulate their words so that the people can actually say, okay, take some money. You teach them that. It is from stealing that you are now still going to tell them, okay, when you are hungry, what you can do is to go and find something to do. Go and give value. Go and solve a problem. Go and meet a need. Go and answer a question. Then you get some money, you are going to use it for yourself. That is it. That is from teaching, from stealing rather, that you are able to explain all of this to your child. Now, this is why before you correct your child, you must be able to be in a good place. It is not even negotiable. And why many parents, even you listening to me, one of the reasons you may not be able to follow this through, it is because you are emotionally all over the place. Your emotions you are not emotionally intelligent. You are reactive. You are spontaneous on the spot. If it goes and it goes for you, the child has done something, you want to correct now. You correct with your hand, you correct with your mouth, you correct with anything around you. You are not able to pause and think through. Now, this is why being emotionally intelligent is not even negotiable in parenting. You cannot parent intentionally. You cannot parent with a vision without being emotionally intelligent. You must learn to be emotionally intelligent. It simply means that you yourself, you must learn to train yourself to be disciplined. You must learn to be disciplined. You must learn to train yourself as an adult, as a parent. You train yourself. Yes. So that is it. If you have any questions, please do well to put the questions in your comment section. So I was talking about why parents get correction wrong. I've talked about this already. I said one of the reasons is we are not emotionally intelligent. We are looking at emotions, anger. And parents will say, oh, I have anger issue. Even teenagers, my teenagers in church will tell me, I have anger issues. I'll tell them, you don't have any anger issue. Because if I do something to you, you are not going to respond, right? But if your mate does it to you, you are going to respond. If you have anger issues, it simply means that you cannot control your anger. So it simply means your mom does that thing to you, you are going to hit your mom, yell at your mom. So it's the same across everywhere. You can't say you have anger issue and your anger issue will be selective. You don't have anger issue. So for parents who also say they have anger issues, it's not anger issues, it's emotional unintelligence. Because if I asked a question one time on Facebook, I said, now imagine you are you are in the kitchen, maybe you are somewhere in your house, and as you are there, you just hear a sound from the kitchen. Someone has broken a plate. You stand up, you are angry, you are ready to go and smack that child. With your anger, you get there, and maybe your wife or your husband says, oh, sweetheart, it fell from my hand. Will you still beat them? If you are not going to beat them, why? Because if you are going to actually beat them, the person there, because they broke your plate, you get there, and it is maybe your mom that came visiting, or your husband or your wife that broke the plate. If the plate is the big deal, why are you not beating them? So this will actually make you realize that it is not the children's behaviors that actually get us reacting the way we react very many times. It is just that we are not intelligent with our emotions, and we now blame it on the children. Make it make sense, like I said. So someone has broken the plate, you are angry, you have broken my plate again. You get to the kitchen, oh honey, it wasn't the child, it was me. And then you are not hitting your husband. Hello, you are not yelling at your husband. Hello, I thought it was because of the plate you were angry. So what does that tell you? It is never about the children's behaviors. Very many times it is because we are emotionally unintelligent. So what? Anger, ego, embarrassment, and sometimes fatigue. We are very tired, or we are overwhelmed. We are just not in the right frame of mind. That's many times we react to our children. We don't, because I said you must ask why. Why did this happen? Why is it wrong? What is the alternative? Now, we cannot pause when we are not emotionally intelligent. And the reasons why, factors that come in the way of our emotions are anger, ego, embarrassment, fatigue, a lot of them. Now, this is why, again, I said you must be emotionally intelligent. What you want to do is to go to this channel. Just go back and look for some videos on emotional intelligence. I tell you, we have a lot of videos. We have over 200 videos here, or even over 300 videos here. I think we have up to 300 videos here. So they have treated very different aspects of parenting, from parenting on the same page, to homework time, to raising stubborn children, understanding your child's temperament, learning style. Whatever you think about it, this is a very rich resource bank for you. So what does it produce? When you are emotionally unintelligent, what happens? It is because if you followed our Becoming Emotionally Intelligent class, you will hear when I talked about the amygdala a lot and the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala is our survival brain that hijacks when we are triggered. The prefrontal cortex is our reasoning brain that tells us, okay, calm, think, and all of that. So when the amygdala hijacks, we are not thinking, because it's like when one door closes, another door opens. So when the amygdala opens up, the prefrontal cortex closes, so we are not able to respond. So we are not able to ask why, we are not able to understand why, we are not able to provide alternative. So what do? We shout. What do? We threaten. What do? We beat without explanation. What do? We give silent treatment. What do? We shame children. And guess what these things do? Now, one of the things we think as parents is that, they give me results. I hear parents say these things often, that it gives me results. If it is giving me results, if it's working for me, I'll keep doing it. I always want to pause and ask them, what do you mean it's working for you? Is it really working for you? How do you measure it is working for you? Remember, it's not just about today. Like I've established at the start of this class, it's not just about today. It's about tomorrow. It's about next tomorrow. It's about the future. If it is working for you, then we will not have children at home who are well behaved, and when they go outside, it's a different ball game for them. If it is working for you, we will not have children who the parents almost cannot recognize the minute they leave the house. It shows it's not working for you. I remember one time in Lagos, there was one woman in my friend's school. I don't know, something happened and they called the woman. The woman was so angry. It is because people don't beat these children. What do you mean you don't flog children? I have a cane in my car. I have one in the kitchen. I have one in the sitting room. I have one in my bedroom. Everywhere. The children know I don't take nonsense. They misbehave, I pull out my cane. So because of that, they behave. You don't beat them in school. It is because at home they cannot be themselves. So you don't even know what they can do. You are not even correcting them at home. You are punishing them. You are not correcting them. So they are not learning. You are not disciplining them. So they are not learning. So they not pretend before you at home. It is what happens very many times when we are using this shouting, shaming, silent treatment, withdrawing privileges, smacking. Our children learn to pretend, they learn to cover up, they learn to hide. Then when they now go outside, you see them do a different thing. We see this happen a lot in children. Once they enter university, you see a child who was going to school, church all the time. You see a child who was a choir member, even a choir teacher in church. Once they get in church, once they get to university, they would not even know. They won't even look for any fellowship. They won't know the road to their fellowship. Nothing. And you are wondering, was it not this child that was his second name at home was church? What happened to him? Because they were never disciplined. They were never trained. So even if they resisted church, they were forced. They never understood why was it important. They never understood anything. They were constantly forced. That is what happens. So the children now learn to hide their true colors, even from their parents. So when people tell you your child did something, you are shocked. My child did this. How? When? Why? It is not my child. It is your child. The problem is they learn to hide from you because you were punishing and not training them. That is it. Okay, so let's go on. What true correction looks like. I think I've explained this a lot of the time. I've explained this a lot already. True correction looks like regulation before correcting your child. As a parent, you are well regulated. Your emotions are in good place. I am not saying it's easy. It is not easy. It is not going to be easy because very many times you see, these children, they are pushing your button because you are a human being. And like I said, if you are a parent without structure, you are not training your child. You are not training. You are waiting to correct. Because training simply means that you have a curriculum, you have a plan, you put things in place, you anticipate what is going to happen. So you already have a curriculum, you're already preparing them. Training is what they give to your children in school. You are in primary 1. We know that by the time you get to primary 3, we are going to expect you to be able to read. So what we are going to do in primary 1 is we are going to introduce you to the letters of the alphabet. Or let's say some schools, they will tell you, my children at primary 1, they can read. So what happens? It simply means that when your child is in kindergarten or playgroup, we are going to introduce you to the letters of the alphabet. So when you see some parents put on Facebook, my child was giving this, my child was giving this, it actually depends on the vision of the school. Depends on what the schools expect of the child at a certain class. If the school is a school that says, okay, by primary 2 or by primary 1, my child should be able to read. So what will they do? They know that they will have to prepare the child. They are not going to wait for primary 2 to start teaching the child how to read. Because the goal is by primary 2, the child should be able to read. So they start. In kindergarten, they introduce the child to the letters of the alphabet. After that, they start doing 2 letters, blending, sight words, and all of that. That is training the child so that at primary 2, the child can meet expectations. That's the same thing we do as parents. Children, They just don't grow at once. They grow in stages. They grow in phases. What do you want to do? We want to start early. This is what I always say to parents. If your kids are young, you are super in luck. You don't want to start early, from when they are small. I say to parents that there is no such thing as my child is too small. I see parents do this thing a lot in church. Excuse me. They do this thing a lot in church. The child is crying. They give the child the phone. The child is feeling restless. They give the child the phone. What are you doing? You are training the child to depend on phone. You are training the child to to be able to cope only with phone. Guess what? Remember that child will become 3, the child will become 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you now come back and say the child is addicted to phone. Make it make sense. How did the child get there? The child did not just wake up one day and become addicted to phone now. You trained them. You've taught them that when you are not happy, grab a phone. When the environment is not conducive for you, grab a phone. When you are feeling hot, grab a phone. When someone looks at you the way you don't like, grab a phone. We see parents say, oh, my child is talking back. How did the child start talking back? The child did not just wake up one day and say, I want to talk back. If that happens, if your child wakes up one day and decides to talk back, know that it is a communication. There is definitely something that is happening. There is something that is happening. Maybe you as a parent, you have disappointed the child. You have done something that the child is not happy with. The child doesn't know how to tell you. So that's why they are talking back. Otherwise, talking back begins when the child is small. We see a lot of parents making content now, using their children, especially their sharp-mouthed daughters or sons, using them. Instead of them to channel that sharp-mouthed into something positive, or they'll record the child talking anyhow. Daddy, see your head. Daddy doesn't know anything, no. See daddy, they record it and put it on social media. People are hailing them. Tomorrow, you come and say the child is talking back. Hello. You have trained the child to talk back. That is what happens so many times. So, what does true correction looks like? True correction looks like being able to regulate your emotions. Being able to regulate your emotions. Understanding what you are feeling. Because very many times, what you are feeling is what is influencing how you respond to your child. And what you are feeling sometimes is not always about what just happened today. It can be where you are coming from, what that behavior reminds you, how it makes you feel. I planned making a video after this, a short video for Facebook. I wanted to share something about, for a very long time, I was having issues with my daughter. I didn't even know where it was coming from. You know, I just thought, oh, this girl, she's trying me, you know how we say. So one day, I sat down, I sat with myself, you know, started looking at some patterns in my parenting that I know that it is going to affect my parenting, that I needed to stop, to unlearn. Started asking myself questions. I sat down with myself literally, and I realized that my daughter was not the issue. The issue was me making mountains out of molehills. Like I was responding to things that I wasn't supposed to respond to. I was responding to things that didn't make sense. I was magnifying a lot of things. And those things, they will furthermore frustrate her. So I realized that it was coming from my childhood. A place where I had an elder sister who was always in control. So my mom was almost not in control of, you know, us as children. My sister was in control. And I felt my sister's control was bullying to me. The control was much that, okay, when I do Facebook, I'm going to break it down. So, and when I realized that, I knew that, okay, it was me, it was not my daughter. It was how her attitude, how her responses to things made me feel. I was the one feeling it. It was not necessarily what she was doing, but how those things made me feel. So that is it. We must be able to regulate our emotions. You cannot regulate your emotions if you are responding on autopilot. You just respond. No. You must always be able to pause and understand what is going on. I understand why it is wrong, then think of solution, which is always an alternative. How does correction look like? Correction looks like connecting with your child, understanding your child before correcting. Like I talked about the boy that was talking about stealing. His parents tried everything. I'm sure they did not bother to really find out why he was stealing, because there are so many reasons children steal. Some people steal because of low self-esteem. Some even steal to please others. I remember one time a woman reached me. She was talking about her son stealing. So one time the son stole a lot of money. The son was a teenager rather. He stole a lot of money. He was working with someone, and he stole a lot of money from the person, over ₦1 million. So it was a major issue. One of the things I told you, Uma, was there has to be a factor. I asked, does he have a girlfriend? She wasn't sure. Does he bet? She wasn't sure. I asked the kind of people he moves around with. She didn't really have concrete answers. It was an assignment I gave her. She went back and she came back. By the time she came back, she said the boy bets. I told her that was the thing. That was the thing. There were betting clubs in their neighborhood. People were always betting and people were always talking. So the boy has learned shortcuts. He has learned not to wait. So not that his parents sat him down to teach him. No, he learned from the environment. Everyone betting there. I was telling my teacher in church on Sunday, they were talking about making money. I don't remember the topic the teenagers were teaching. I said, the first mindset these teenagers have is making money now. They are not thinking about the processes. They're not thinking about the hard work. It's just making money now. It is not making money now. It is why they go and bet. They want to drive cars, big cars. They want to use fancy phones when they cannot even afford anything, when they are not even worth more than. So that is the mindset. So I asked the mom. She said she came back and said he bets. I said that is it. It's not even about the betting. It's about the mindset. Maybe the mindset is from, let me go and bet, make money, and come and help my family. That could be why. Let me go and make money and impress my friends. That could be why. Let me go and make money and do one or two things. That could be why. So before you want to correct that behavior now, he's not stealing because he wants to eat. He's stealing so that he will get money to go and bet. And that betting is a product of no processes. It's a product of making money now. Are you seeing the tree? So you cannot correct your child effectively if you do not know what is happening. And one way to know what is happening is actually to connect with your child. You are not reactive. You are not spontaneous. I understand. I see you. You have done something. What you have done is not right. But hey, I want to understand. I'm not judging you. I want to understand. You can't get to this point if you're always reactive. Yesterday, I went to pick my kids from school, and my older children, they are not doing lesson yet. I told them I'm still contemplating if they are going to do lesson or not. Then my younger son, his school, because of that, his school actually closes 3 o'clock. So I got there before 2. I'll have to wait. So my older son said, Mommy, I'm tired. This car is so hot. I want to go home. I said, good and fine. Here's the house key. You can go home. We got home. We closed after 3. We got home. We didn't see him. We didn't meet him at all. I called. At some point, I was like worried. What happened? So I stepped out to look for him, to ask the neighbors, and I saw him walking home. What happened? He said when he was coming, just thought to himself, he will not be the only one that will go and stay at home. Now he has a classmate who lives on our side. So he decided to, okay, since I know his house, let me go there and just hang out with him for just a short while before I begin to come. That was it. Did he do something I did not like? Hanging out with his classmate may not have been a problem. He did not tell me, number one, and we have a rule that no matter what you are doing, no matter where you are going, you must let somebody know. It is for your own safety. So you didn't tell me that, oh, you were going to be with your friends. Me, I'll have to now understand that, was it on the road you made up your mind to go to your friend's house, or was it in school, or was that why you wanted to leave? So I need to know. If that was why you wanted to leave, you didn't tell me, it simply means that I have not earned your trust. You don't trust that if you tell me, it was going to be okay with me. I have to now say, okay, I'll work on that on my own. And I'm also going to take that to now teach him. Like I always tell them in the Visionary Parents Academy, discipline is never an emergency. If you don't know the right things to say, you can pause. When you know the right things to say, you come back and say it. Like yesterday, I didn't know the right thing to say. I didn't know the right consequence, if I was to give a consequence or anything. I didn't know that. I paused. So later on, I told him that it simply means that we are not going to give you the key to the house alone. So if you are going to wait for hours, you are going to wait for hours with us. That was it. So I didn't have to yell because the deed has been done. My yelling, my smacking, would it have made any difference? It wouldn't have made a difference. So we'll look for alternative. So what are you going to do? In those days, driving out, we used to have books in the car. We have stopped having books in the cars. So we are going to find alternative. Maybe we'll go back to putting books in the cars. Maybe we'll go back to you drawing. So you are going to find a way to stay around us. After all, one of our values is unity. And unity, one of the ways we promote unity is always to stay together as a family. So you must learn to connect with your child, empathize with them, show them you see them. What does discipline looks like? Correction looks like? It looks like clarity, not confusion. Clarity, not confusion. It looks like replacing emotional questions with clear statements. What does discipline looks like? It looks like teaching alternative. I've talked about this, so I don't want to talk about it. Teaching alternative, because very many times children don't know better. They don't know how to do. They don't know better way to handle situations. A child is hungry, they don't know what to do. A child is upset with his sibling, they don't know what to do. A child feels, oh, should I use the word restless, they don't know what to do. A child is in church, everywhere the noise is too much, they are stimulated, overstimulated, they don't know what to do, so they act out. So it is teaching alternative. Now the next one is discipline or correction looks like giving consequences with a meaning, consequences tied to what the child has done, not just random consequences, not shouting, not hitting, but consequences that actually teach. Now, consequences are a very great way for us to shape our children, for us to get them to behave. Consequences, logical consequences and natural consequences. And guess what? Flogging the child is neither of them. Yelling is neither of them. Natural consequence. What natural consequence? Your child has made a mess. What is going to happen? Logical consequences, rather. You have made a mess. What is going to happen? You are going to clean up your mess. Nobody is cleaning your mess for you. Natural consequence, logical consequence is you misuse an item. You are going to lose it. It is your choice. I always tell my children that you have a choice. I always use the barrel. Tell them to pick up one Bible. Pick up the barrel like this. I always use this to illustrate it. I'll tell them that this is your action and this is your consequence. Now, when you pick a barrel like this, when you pick this side, it is not within your power to pick the other side. The other side automatically lifts up with it. So when you pick one side, you are picking the second side. So it simply means you are picking your choice, the consequences go with it naturally. So you cannot manipulate the consequence because it is attached to your choice that you have made. So correction looks like consequences, natural and logical, and not necessarily smacking, yelling, impulsive. Now let's talk about when we use correction wrongly. What happens to the child? Your child becomes secretive. I've explained that, so I don't want to go into that again. They have double life. They have two faces. They have one life with you, they have one life outside. When you correct your child wrongly, what happens? Your children become fearful. They are not able to meet you. They are not able to talk to you. They are fearful. Some children become rebellious. Yes, that is where you talk about see finish has entered. Your own is too much. You are breathing down my neck every time. No, I can't take this no more. Some children become rebellious. Some children disconnect with you, emotional disconnection. I always say that if your children don't trust you enough to be able to share with you what goes on in their life, then how will you be able to guide them? How will you help them find closure? How will you be able to train them? You have to know what is happening to them. When you know what is happening to them, then you can step in to guide them, to correct them, and to train them. And if you are always reacting as a parent, you may never be able to know what goes on with them. That way, you may never be able to train them. So connection is super important, and sometimes the way we discipline our children can actually make them hide from us. They become secretive. They're not going to tell us things that happen to them, and when things happen, you are wondering, why didn't you tell me? I didn't tell you because you are going to yell. I didn't tell you because you are going to start hitting me. I didn't tell you because of the things you are going to do, and we don't like that. And at the end of the day, what we do is we lose control of our children, and we also lose access, because it's one thing to have your child, it's another thing to have your child be able to talk to you, able to see you as a strong support in their lives. Now, but when you correct your children in the right way, what happens? Your children, they learn to trust you. Your children, they learn to understand you. They have self-control, and they build instinctive values. I always say that, see, whether you're intentional or not, our children are still going to have baggages when they grow up. It's because you're not the only one that give them baggages. And sometimes, in a bid not to give them baggages, you may even end up giving them baggages. I see parents, they don't allow their children to do chores. At the end of the day, the children become entitled, sport brats, irresponsible. They can't take initiative. When they grow up, they'll have to unlearn that. My daughter was telling me one day, oh, mommy, I'm live traumatized. I told her, even me growing up, I was bitter leaf traumatized. So that is why I don't like bitter leaf that much. When growing up, I was bitter leaf traumatized. You are St. leaf traumatized, don't worry. When you grow up, you are going to unlearn it. So, but however, our children are not going to have traumas. They are not going to have baggages that will break them. At least not from us. They will trust, not from us. They are going to trust us to be able to tell them, even if something happens to them, they know that we are not reactive, we are reasonable. We use our prefrontal cortex, so we don't let our amygdala hijack. So they are going to be able to come and talk to us. And when they talk to us, we help them find healing, we help them find meaning. We actually are able to help them get closure. What happens? Now, let me give you something. At the end of the day, action steps. When you need to correct your child, what are you going to do about it? I'll close with action steps. Now, remember, this is brought to you by the Visionary Parent Academy. And this is the Visionary Parent with Enimien Oruebor. Here's what you want to do for me. Copy this video link and share. Invite people, your friends, your church platform, your children's PTA, your alumni. Let everybody know that there is something going on in this channel that will greatly empower them. Because the truth of the matter is, when you share them, you are not just helping me grow, you are not just helping me reach more parents, you are actually making the society a safe space for us. Imagine if everybody hears the right knowledge. At the end of the day, what do you think is going to happen? Everybody will do well. If everybody does well, the society will be safer for us. Parents will learn better, raise our children better, and society will be generally safe for us. Now, next week, Friday and Saturday, we have free master classes on Zoom, Reparenting Yourself. It is absolutely free. So what you want to do is to ask for the link to join the class and then you are going to join it. You also need to follow me on Facebook, where I will share the link to the class. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to choose the behavior. You want to choose one behavior you want to work on this week. Not every behavior, just choose one. This particular behavior I want to work on this week, so that you can focus all your energy on it. Let's say, oh, my child talks back, I want to work on that. My children are always fighting, I want to work on that. They don't like listening the first time, I want to work on that. My kids lie, do you want to work on that? You want to focus your correction on that. Now everything is corrected when you are focusing every time. You realize that when you are correcting everything, you realize that you are always reacting. So at the end of the day, it moves from your child to you, like you become a broken record. Every time, correct this, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Your child starts seeing you as it's not about me, it's about mommy. Mommy is the one that has the problem. Daddy is the one that has the problem. They're always correcting me, always yelling at me, yelling at my sibling, doing this, always reacting everything. Is it that I don't ever do anything good? So your child starts seeing you as the problem, and then sometimes it also affects their self-esteem, because the more you correct your child on things, the more they begin to wonder, is it that I never do anything right? Secondly, number two, before you respond to your child, pause. Before you respond to your child, pause. You need to go to our becoming emotionally intelligent class and learn how to pause, why it matters, and all of that. You need to always learn to pause. You need to learn to know that discipline is not an emergency. Your child's behavior is not setting a house on fire, and nobody is losing their life. You need to learn to pause. Then you correct. Like I said before, you correct. You want to correct. You want to understand why. What happened here? Why is it wrong? And you provide alternative. What happened here? Why is it wrong? And then 4, you provide alternative. You must provide alternative. Now remember, very many times children do things, it's actually because they lack the skills. So you must learn to provide alternative. That will teach them. An alternative will now depend on your values as a family. I've talked about this, and if you want to learn more, you need to reach us in the Visionary Parent Academy, and we'll teach you more on values. Number 5 is consequences. No matter what it is, you are going to give consequences. Your consequences must be logical, or you let natural consequences take place. When there are no natural consequences, at least not immediately, you give logical consequences. We have videos in this class, in this channel, that explains natural consequences and logical consequences. You need to look for it. Number 6, you create a safe space. Your home doesn't have to be chaotic. Your home must be safe. And one of the ways to make it safe is to always use calm voice. Connect with your children. Play with them. Share moments with them. When you have a relationship with your children, it is going to minimize a lot of chaos, and it is going to make correcting them super easy, because they know you are correcting them from a place of love. You are not just correcting them from impulse or from drama, from a sincere place of love. So learn to build a safe space in your home, a home where fight is not always going on, a home that is not always chaotic. Build a safe space in your home. Maybe one of these days I'll talk about the impact of safe space on how to create a safe space in your home. Number 4 is, at the end of every day, sit with yourself and reflect. Did I correct or react today? What did I correct? What did I do well? What didn't I do well? Now, this is one of the conversations we have every day in the Visionary Parent Academy. At the end of the day, we sit together and we ask ourselves, what did you do well today? What didn't you do well today? Were you triggered? If you were triggered, what triggered you? How did you respond to it when you were triggered? These are the conversations we have in the Visionary Parent Academy. Again, you need to join us because it's a very empowering community and it is going to definitely empower you. And lastly, what you want to do is to be consistent. It is to be consistent. If you correct a particular behavior, consistency, you are sending a strong boundary to your child, you are telling them that this behavior is a no. It is not compromisable, it is not negotiable, it is a no. And soon your child will get the memo. But if today you correct, tomorrow you don't correct, your child will be confused. And some days they want to say, okay, let me see what happens. And they may actually be seeing what happens the days you do not like. So you must learn to correct consistently. Okay, that is that about discipline without breaking your child. Discipline as correction. I hope you learned something today. If you learned something, do well to share this video. Invite other parents. Tell them to come and learn how to discipline their children without breaking them. Remember, I said you must ask what happened. You must know why. You must also understand why is it wrong, and then you must provide alternative. And these things your children must understand. Why did you do this? Why? Now this is why this is not the right thing to do, and this is actually the right thing to do. Your child talks back. Why did you talk back? You talk back because, oh, mommy, you have not listened to me. I was angry and this and that. It is wrong because of XYZ. Now, if you feel mommy is not listening to you, this is the best way to approach mommy and not to talk back. So you must learn to, and for you to reach this extent, you must learn to be emotionally intelligent. Like I said, we have classes on emotional intelligence in this channel. I'm sure we have up to 5, 6, 7 classes on emotional intelligence because it's very key. It's an integral part of parenting with a vision. So what you want to do is to just brush through the channel and see it, or you can just type in search emotional intelligence with Enimien or with the Visionary Parent Academy with Enimien Oruebor. You are going to see options and you are going to click on it and watch. Remember to invite people, and remember we have a masterclass coming Friday and Saturday 7 p.m. every day for the 2 days, where we are going to learn about ourselves, reparenting ourselves, and on learning some of the things that are sabotaging us. Thank you so much for joining. If you know you have some lessons that you feel, I need to catch this again, go back and watch the video again. I always say to parents, you don't have to see my face. No, what matters is you are taking the lessons and you're running with the lessons. So what are you going to do? You are going to watch the video. You can be doing your chores and watching the video. You can be driving to work and listening to the video. So when you are doing your chores, you are listening to the video. So anything that resonates with you, you pause and note it down. After noting it down, you make sure you take action. That is where the result is, taking action. If you are not taking action, then you being here is almost as good as you wasting your time. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.